In the mists of ancient Britain, a tale unfolds that would echo through the centuries, shaping not just a kingdom, but the very essence of heroic legend. The story of King Arthur isn't merely a tale of swords and sorcery, it's a narrative that speaks to the deepest parts of human nature, our quest for legitimacy, our struggle with destiny, and the eternal hope that greatness can emerge from the most unexpected places. Picture, if you will, a Britain torn apart by chaos. King Uther Pendragon, a ruler whose name commanded respect throughout the realm, found himself surrounded by enemies who would stop at nothing to seize power. In these treacherous times, Uther made a decision that would alter the course of history. He entrusted his infant son to Merlin, the enigmatic wizard whose wisdom was as vast as the stars themselves. Merlin's choice was calculated and precise. He placed the young Arthur in the care of Sir Ector, a noble knight whose integrity was beyond question. Arthur grew up believing himself to be nothing more than a squire, learning the ways of chivalry and service alongside Sir Ector's own son, Kay. But destiny has a way of finding those who are meant for greatness, even when they themselves don't know it. The death of Uther Pendragon plunged Britain into darkness. Without a clear successor, the land became a battleground for ambitious lords, each claiming their right to the throne. The common people suffered as nobles waged their petty wars, and the dream of a unified Britain seemed to fade with each passing day. It was in this moment of crisis that Merlin orchestrated an event that would become legendary. In the churchyard of London's greatest cathedral, a sword appeared, thrust deep into an anvil that sat atop a massive stone. The blade wasn't just any weapon. It gleamed with an otherworldly light, and upon its surface, golden letters proclaimed a challenge that would capture the imagination of every soul in Britain. Whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone, an anvil is rightwise king, born of all England. The strongest knights in the land came forward, their muscles straining against the immovable blade. Lords brought their entire armies, believing that sheer force of numbers might succeed where individual strength had failed. Some tried trickery. Others attempted to chip away at the stone itself, but the sword remained steadfast, waiting for its true master. Meanwhile, Arthur had grown into a young man whose character would have made any father proud. He was kind to those beneath him, respectful to his elders, and possessed a natural wisdom that seemed beyond his years. Yet he remained unaware of his true heritage, content in his role as Kay's squire and helper. The day that changed everything began like any other. A great tournament had been called, and Sir Kay was to compete among the finest knights in the land. In the rush and excitement of preparation, Kay discovered he had forgotten his sword, a potentially disastrous oversight. Arthur, ever eager to help, ran through the streets of London, searching for a solution to his foster brother's predicament. That's when fate intervened. In the churchyard, Arthur spotted the sword in the stone. With no knowledge of its significance, and thinking only of helping Kay, he approached the weapon. What happened next would be retold for generations. Arthur grasped the hilt, and as naturally as drawing breath, pulled the sword free from its stone prison. The reaction was immediate and explosive. When Arthur brought the sword to Kay, his foster brother recognized it instantly. Word spread through the tournament grounds like wildfire. The nobles rushed to witness this miracle, their faces a mixture of disbelief and outrage. How could this mere boy, this squire, accomplish what the mightiest warriors in Britain could not? They demanded proof, insisting that Arthur return the sword to the stone. Some believed it must be a trick. Others claimed the stone must have weakened over time. But when Arthur easily placed the sword back and pulled it out again, even the most skeptical observers couldn't deny what they were seeing. It was then that Merlin stepped forward, emerging from the crowd like a figure from prophecy. The wizard revealed the truth that had been hidden for so many years. Arthur was not Sir Ector's ward, but the son of Uther Pendragon himself, the rightful heir to Britain's throne. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. Not everyone welcomed this news. Many nobles refused to bend the knee to a boy, regardless of his heritage or magical proof. They saw their dreams of power slipping away and responded with resistance. But the common people who had witnessed the miracle firsthand embraced Arthur with open arms. They saw in him something that had been missing from Britain: hope. Gradually, through a combination of wisdom beyond his years and an innate sense of justice, Arthur won over even his staunchest opponents. The lords of the land came to recognize what the sword had already proclaimed. Here was Britain's true king. His coronation marked the beginning of an era that would become the stuff of legend. Under Arthur's rule, Camelot rose from the earth, a shining city that embodied the highest ideals of chivalry and justice. He gathered around him the knights of the Round Table, each one sworn to uphold the principles of honor, courage, and service to others. The Round Table itself was a masterpiece of symbolism. At it, all knights were equal, and no one, not even the king, could claim precedence over another. But the sword from the stone was only the beginning of Arthur's magical arsenal. Through another legendary tale, he came to possess Excalibur, gifted to him by the mysterious Lady of the Lake. This blade was said to be even more powerful than the first, its scabbard preventing its bearer from bleeding from wounds. Yet with great power came great challenges. Arthur's reign would be tested by betrayal, challenged by dark forces, and marked by the quest for the Holy Grail. His story would become intertwined with tales of love, loyalty, and heartbreak. From his marriage to Guinevere to the tragic betrayal by his closest friend and most trusted knight, Lancelot. The legend of Arthur, the boy who became king by pulling a sword from a stone, reminds us that greatness often comes from unexpected sources. It teaches us that true leadership isn't about who shouts the loudest or shows the most force, but about who has the wisdom, compassion, and strength of character to unite people behind a common cause. In our modern world, where we often struggle with questions of leadership and legitimacy, the story of Arthur continues to resonate. It speaks to something fundamental in human nature, our desire to believe that somewhere out there exists a leader who will put the needs of their people above their own ambition, who will rule with wisdom and justice rather than force and fear. The sword in the stone stands as a powerful symbol of destiny fulfilled, of merit recognized, and of the extraordinary potential that lies within ordinary people. Arthur's journey from humble squire to legendary king reminds us that greatness doesn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it simply waits like a sword in a stone for the right person to come along and claim it.